Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today I wanted to talk about balance changes. We've all been waiting for change for a little while now, and I wanted to talk about why we may not have seen any. We had a lot of aggressive changes made to Overwatch over the course of the start of this year, I guess the first 2 quarters really, and then all that PTR usage and those changes made to the game just sort of started dying off to the point where we gotten to now. In today's video I just want to underline how incredibly important it is that we actually see changes now, like very soon, and also try and explain why we may have ended up in this situation. But to do that, I need to start from the beginning. So last year we had some talk before Christmas around balance changes, meaning that Blizzard were active, they were talking about it, there were some forum posts about what they were thinking and how they thought they would approach certain heroes, and indeed Blizzard came back from the holiday break and lived up to those expectations. They talked about the Roadhog Hook 2.0 changes, or maybe it was even 3.0 at that point, who knows. But point was that they were talking about it, we knew that there were changes coming, they were interacting with the community and they were changing the game. Right as they came back, they posted on the forums a bunch, and then that Thursday of that same week, so that would be today actually, Blizzard even pushed an update to the PTR with some hero changes, and actually some quite major ones even. I believe D.Va and Ana were nerfed at the time, and there were also some other changes made to the PTR, but point was that there was a patch, there was a change, even right after they came back from the break like that. And obviously before the break we had Sombra implemented into the game, and actually some other hero changes made too. And if you compare that to this time around, it's not looking very good, to be honest. Okay, so we went back to even 2016 there and 2017 right at the start to talk about how that sort of looked. Now let's go back to August 10th, 2017, the day where Junkrat's second round of buffs hit the PTR. So he did have some other buffs made previously throughout the year, Junkrat not taking splash damage from his own explosions and that sort of stuff, but it was here on August 10th that the Junkrat change of the double concussion mine hit. So Junkrat can now hold 2 concussion mines, as you can see here, and also the rip tire changes of tires movement speed has been increased by 30%, and there is no longer a time limit when wall climbing. I believe some of this stuff was adjusted potentially a little bit later. The point was that this was when the Junkrat change came into play. So that hit the PTR, and then very shortly after actually, Mercy was changed on the PTR on August 24th. This was when Mercy 2.0 was introduced and when Valkyrie was first seen properly, and when we had gameplay of this new hero basically. I say new hero because this kind of changed everything. Now later on in August, these previously tested Junkrat buffs were put onto the live servers on August 29th actually, and now everyone were basically just waiting for Junkertown to hit live, and people thought that would happen kind of soon, but I believe there were some delays, and Blizzard even communicated that the reworked Mercy would be put on live servers a bit later than expected at first, but the reworked Mercy was put onto the live servers on September 19th. And since September 19th, we've not had much of a meta shift at all, to be honest. Mercy just received some minor nerfs on October 17th, and when Moira was added on November 19th, there were some changes made to Mercy and a couple other heroes, but nothing that majorly changed the game. And I say that because those changes didn't really end up doing that much, as Ana is really not played a lot still, and Mercy is played in nearly every match. So nerfing Mercy here and buffing Ana, and also these other changes, didn't actually end up really doing anything. Just have it mentioned though as well, because I know someone's gonna point it out, there was also a roster-wide ultimate rework that essentially meant that if a hero had their ultimate interrupted in any way, they would most likely lose it. I'll link to that change below in case you forgot about it and want to read about it again. It's quite a lot, so I can't go through it here, but it happened back in October and didn't really have any major meta impact, but it definitely changed the game in at least some ways. So yeah, I'll link to that below. Alright, this leads us up to now basically. The only thing I haven't really mentioned is the Christmas event that hit, and then Blizzard went on their holiday break of course, and are now back in the offices, as we've seen Jeff Kaplan and others active on the Blizzard forums. And there was also a developer update. Now I want to mention this developer update in particular because some people thought that, hey, it's kind of weird that balance changes weren't mentioned in this developer update at all, and yeah, I totally agree. The fact that there was no mention of it at all, even in some vague way of saying, oh yeah, we are looking into it or anything like that, was kind of odd. Sure, this video may very well have been recorded before Blizzard went on their holiday break, as Jeff here is speaking in very generalized terms and not really pinpointing anything. And also it was released in the morning Pacific time, so LA time, meaning that for them to have time to record it, edit it up, and put it out on YouTube and coordinate with all the different socials channels seems to be a little bit too tight of a time frame, but hey, who knows. Either way, I think that was why it wasn't mentioned there, but the fact that it's been this long for us to even get a PTR patch again, or even have any sort of word on balance changes, is kind of ridiculous. And with all of that out of the way, let's try and answer the question of this video. Why has it taken this long? So I guess I already kind of went into it with the way that all of these changes have hit. The Overwatch development schedule is already pretty packed. You have a lot of events, a lot of preparation for Overwatch League, a lot of other systems that need to be worked on. There were a bunch of changes made to spectating. A bunch more long-term planning for Overwatch has happened. And it's not like we've not seen any balance changes or tweaks made to heroes or bug fixes made at all. We have seen quite a few over the course of the last 6 months or so, but I can definitely see some of this getting in the way of it. Now, the main thing I want to mention here, and I actually briefly did, is Overwatch League. Now, you might be like, hey, the people working on Overwatch League and organizing all of that aren't really the people that do the hero changes and work on all that stuff, and that is true. However, Overwatch League and the efforts and all the money that Blizzard have put towards Overwatch League, all the investors, teams, players, and other staff that are involved, means that they have to get Overwatch League right. If they change things majorly in the game right as Overwatch League is around the corner, that can definitely have an impact on it. We've seen Valve in Dota 2 change things just weeks before or even days before tournaments, and I'm pretty sure I even watched Dota 2 tournaments go down mid-game because there's a balance patch that is going through. So there's kind of two ends of the spectrum here, of Blizzard being a bit passive because of it, and other game developers in the past mostly just pushing through balance changes and seeing what happens. It didn't take long for the Junkrat changes to go through, from being tested on the PTR to go to the live servers, but after that a lot of focus was put on Mercy. She was actually tweaked quite a lot. Like I said, Valkyrie was probably nerfed about 3 times, or at least changed 3 times, and there was a lot of discussion and thinking going on around that at Blizzard as well for sure, hence the hero rework was delayed at least a week. So that's about a month and a half from presenting the changes to actually having them be pushed through and properly in the game. That means that whilst Mercy was pushed through on September 19th, it wasn't really until mid-October where some things had settled down. After that you have BlizzCon coming up and Moira and a bunch of stuff around that, a new map, a bunch of bug fixes around heroes and so on, changes for the Overwatch World Cup. There was a lot on Blizzard's plate at this time, so this may very well have delayed it further. The period between mid-November and mid-December, which is pretty much all the time that was left of that previous year, was also jam-packed with Overwatch League stuff, the Christmas event, of course more Moira tweaks, and a load of other small updates and other things around Overwatch. To push out an update just before the Christmas break and just sort of let it be there on the PTR over the new year would maybe have been good. I would have loved to have seen that personally, but it's kind of hard to just say, hey, just give us an update, as it's never just as simple as that. However, I think all of this is what has contributed to this pretty frustrating situation that we're all in, of essentially having the same meta since September 19th, and even before then, Mercy was played a lot. I'm not here to be making excuses for Blizzard, but I definitely think it's important to look at it in this way, as it's never as simple as nerf this hero, buff this hero. To be saying that people haven't been talking about this on the Blizzard forums and on Reddit, which are the two main points of contact to the developers and the main link between the community and the development team, is just a flat out lie. We all know that there's been a load of discussion, and we all know that the devs probably know about this. It's not really about making that one Battle.net post that suggests a change that is just about good enough for Blizzard to consider it and put it into the game or on the PTR. Now it's sort of come down to the point where Blizzard have to act, or else more and more people will just lose faith in the development team and just get sick of the current state of the game and its meta. Alright, I hope that answers a bunch of questions, and maybe you guys kind of see things from a different perspective now. Personally, I am very frustrated around the way that Blizzard have handled this, but I kind of want to give them this time from about now to in a week or so to actually start talking about changes and pushing things to the PTR again, because it definitely is important to keep the game healthy. So it's time, Blizzard, we need to see some changes. Right, with that out of the way, I want to thank you all for watching this video. Definitely do leave a like if you did. It's a little bit different from our usual stuff, but hey, I wanted to try it. Subscribe for more Overwatch content as per usual, and until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.